so again, obviously this was a request, so and it was a request for a Kihon 101 video, but I want people to be thinkers, okay? I want you to be able to learn how to think as it's being portrayed in the training group, and then you apply that to your own art. Let's be honest, you're already doing something I wouldn't do, okay? So this is the next best thing that I can think of. I mean, what I would do and what I did is like, well, who has what I want? And then I would just dedicate and devote myself to that person. I would move, I would go travel, I would invite them to where I'm at. I wouldn't do what you guys do. So the next best thing is, can you learn to think for yourselves? Okay, because my position is, if you can learn to think for yourselves, then you might end up exactly where I am. Okay, it's just a very long roundabout thing. Whereas if you practice devotion, it's the quickest route. That's why I did it that way. Okay, so learning how to think, I was really quite surprised by a lot of those responses, to be honest, on the first video. Because it was so coming from the point of view, like the Aikido's this fighting thing. It's not. This is fighting. The fighting that you saw in Ronin, that's fighting. The fighting you see in the octagon, that's fighting, okay? This stuff is training for other things, okay? But there's a lot of like, no, you know, that wouldn't happen in a real fight. None of this fucking stuff would happen in a real fight. Jesus, fuck. Let go of it, okay? That's where I'm coming from. And when you do let go of it, you can really discover what's actually going on in here, okay? And there is something valuable there. So here's the next video to help you guys think about this, all right? So if we look, and he's grabbing, where we left off is, it's not him grabbing and striking. That just doesn't work, okay? It's me being grabbed and me entering and him blocking the strike. That's what's going on. So if he grabs and is pulling me in, you'll see that his elbow goes from straight, because he reached for the grab, and then his elbow bends. We call this anchoring, okay? And the stronger he wants to be, the more the elbow stays close to his rib cage, and the more down it goes, that's going to give him the most power. The more his elbow flares, which people can't pull like that, the less his elbow's anchored, the less power he has, okay? So we won't train for the idiot. We won't train for that. We'll train for the guy who really understands biomechanics, okay? And then so all of you who said that the guy that you enter, okay, or that you were taught that you enter, I made in the follow-up post that it's not that I'm entering on a guy whose fist is straight and whose elbow is straight, sorry. It's a guy, I'm entering on the pull, which means I'm entering on the anchoring of the elbow. Which means if he's here, I don't try to enter because I can't fucking enter. There's no way I can enter on him. So hence in that second series of posts I made, entering without the elbow pulling is as wrong as turning when he's penetrating forward. They're both a violation of yin-yang theory, okay? So, I'm not initiating anything because there's no initiation on that. There's no way I can do that. I am responding to the pulling. He pulls. That's what I'm doing. Now, what usually happens, let's say, again, my deshi we don't work with this crap. So what usually happens is the uke is going to choreograph away all violations of Yin-Yang theory. Okay? So when he enters on the strike, I know, don't worry. And he enters on the strike, the uke goes ahead and lets that happen. You see? That's what happens every time. So it looks like he's there and I go there, and that's what it looks like. But you see, I did that. I did this bend in my arm. Whereas the guy's trying to enter on me, what the fuck you? You see? No, that's not gonna happen. That's a violation of Yin Yang. Okay? So I'm gonna let them play with that. But that's first point in this second video. Alright, so that's just dumb, but people just do it, okay? Now let's go, well, clearly it is that he has to pull me in, and clearly his elbow has to anchor to pull me in, okay? If that's true, and he goes to do it, and he pulls me down, and you can see that he blocks in his attack, he blocks my arm that was supposedly hitting him in the face, just from the anchored elbow, okay? So, the way they do it in the Federite world is you come underneath, but if he was pulling you, he blocks the arm in the pull. I can't get my arm up, okay? And we'll do it from the other side, so Jason, you can see both angles. Just in the pull, no, he's blocking in the pull itself. One more time. Okay, and we'll try that one so they can feel this. Alright, we'll watch my fists now as I plot this in space, but it should be obvious. It's just apparent. Obviously it wasn't obvious, okay? And then that's how you get people entering in, coming underneath, like that just doesn't work, okay? But if you pay attention, why doesn't it work, okay? To anchor my elbow, my fist has to descend. So if you plot it in the vertical plane, my fist is coming down. There's no way I can leave it at this level and anchor my elbow. To leave the fist at that level, my elbow cannot anchor. It's going outward. The second my elbow anchors, the fist has to come down. When the fist comes down, he brings his arm up. That's a yang-yang clash, okay? That he will lose because I have elbow power and he's trying to use his wrist power on that. You'll lose that every time, okay? That's why it doesn't work. So that's a yang-yang clash. Why is it not noticed? Because the uke is choreographing the clash away. Okay? So what do we have to do instead? I can't come underneath the arm, so I go over the arm. He's pulling, I come here. Okay, we'll try that one. Try it. All right, so I kind of insert here. Because his elbow is anchoring, the fist goes down as you can't lurch step. So lurch step to me is when you take your line of gravity and you're moving it between your feet. So if he's not there, think that you're there but not pulling. A lurch step looks like this. And a lot of people do that because they want the gravitational marriage on the strike. But if I do that, when he goes, he does this anchoring elbow, go, and I try to do that, you get checked out, okay? You have to work the energy. So the fist is going down right away, and that's where you have to drop. So, side note, because we had a lot of problems working that. Everyone was lurch stepping, okay? If you're stepping correctly, he goes, you're energy on the hand is going up, not down on a lurch step, okay? And then secondarily, once you touch something, if I touch up there, I'm touching here, okay? So he goes, I drop in, I try to touch his center. I'm not just popping him in the head, okay? But we're gonna do that part again. All right, so to that, that's where he defends his face. He goes, defends his face. When I touch that, I'm still in his center. So I'm not here, go, and I'm hitting here. I touch, in his center. Okay, let's try that. All right, so that would be my take on the problems as they were set up in the first video. Okay, and then per your request is how to get to Nikyo. Okay, so a couple things that we have always said: the fight must spiral rotate. Okay, and so the spiral rotation is I got to get off of this 180. Okay. And he has to end up at a minimum over here at the 4 o'clock, preferably the 3 o'clock, okay? We gotta start spiral rotating. So, what ends up happening, as I would diagnose, reverse engineer this technique, is I came in, okay, but he's really strong so that I will not get that other technique. Okay? We're gonna go slow so I can talk, okay? So he's pulling in, I'm trying the other technique, I feel the strength, I let it pass, and then I keep him moving in the circle. So again, nice and slow, boom, he's strong enough, let it pass, here's the other hand passes, takes him into that curvature. Do the other side. Goes. Notice how as he goes in, the other hand is here covering whatever this might do. So I don't want it as I come up and he just punches me in the face, okay? The other hand is there. That's why the other hand, as it yields, the other hand picks it up. And this one now is on this guard here, okay? So as we're here, it comes around here. We'll do this. Okay, let's try it. So again, I'm learning how to think. All that I have done at this point was use yin-yang theory. That is all I've done, okay? And what is the actual biomechanical soundness that would get me in this situation, okay? So, for example, he has to be pulling, otherwise I wouldn't be entering. And then martially, go ahead, double check it. Yeah, if he's not pulling me, I couldn't enter anyways, okay? Another thing you can use to validate your thinking, because the art is concentric, if you get onto the right track, it is a track that you've already been on multiple times, okay? So if you pay attention, if he did, for example, Menuchi, and we came here, you're gonna see that that is what's happening here, okay? So we'll go slow so I can talk. We all know why this first part is happening. Boom, feel that, and right here is the strike. We come back all the time in Menuchi. Okay? Going in, boom, boom. It's right there. All I'm doing is not taking the strike to emphasize the arm check. But it's there if you wanted it. Okay? Okay, to show you where the Menuchi is, you pulling me in, boom, feel the pressure, it's right there, boom, One more time. Okay, so we used yin-yang theory to get us in the ballpark. We confirmed martially what is actually people do, what's actually going to happen. And then now we use the concentric manifestation. Yup, seen that before. It's true because this is a concentric epistemology at work here. And now what we have, and we also rotate the fight. You always have to rotate the fight. It's part of the arts principles. So that we rotated the fight. You can see that Uke is going off the 180 and doing those, what is it, 245 degrees? I don't know, what is it, Andrew?
So 3/4 is 270.
270. We hit the 270, which we always have to hit, okay? So we're in the ballpark. Everything's consistent and valid. Now we want to hit the Nikyo, okay? And the Nikyo, like all locks on the extremities, require that the arm get isolated. And what that means is that it requires that his elbow is not near his torso, okay? Otherwise, you can't do this kind of stuff. So that is why, what I mean by that is he pulls in, and I'm here, you're not going to get Nikyo here, okay? You'll have to get separation between the elbow and the torso. Now the arm is isolated, now the elbow is vulnerable, and now the wrist is vulnerable, otherwise it's not, okay? So if you pay attention, in everything that we've done up till now, the arm is getting longer, is what I'm doing, okay? Because the centrifugal energy is extending him out from me this way, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so now I got to figure out how to get to the Nikyo over here. All right, so in light of everything that I've done, so probably go back to yin-yang theory. So he goes, I'm coming around, right? And that is going to be pulling against the centrifugal energy that I used, okay? So usually what tends to happen is I got to figure out how to move where that's not going to be, okay? Where that pull is not going to be. So let me explain. If centrifugal energy is pulling them out, it's like any other force, and the non-contesting line is at the 90 degrees to it, okay? And that's what I ended up using. So he's coming around. If I go this way, you'll feel the pull. I gotta hit the 90 degrees to the centrifugal force line. So big. And then there's nothing. Then you have it. Okay? Let's try it on the other side. So I did all this for reasons stated. I extend the arm, I take the 90 degrees. Okay? Let's just get there and see what happens. Try it. Alright. I'm going to show it again because it's a little weird here. Okay, so go really slow so I can talk. You're going in. Boom. I feel her strength, so I yield to the strength. So you got to give some energy. Boom. Okay. She didn't let go. That's the first thing to note. If she let go, she'd come around and you'd have Shihonaga and all that kind of stuff. So this is a technique that's kind of answering the what if they didn't let go. Okay, if they didn't let go, the centrifugal force would isolate the arm by having the body and the elbow separate from each other. Okay, so one, and there it is. There it is. Okay, and now I can't go here. So this pull line, I go here. Okay? And that's where I find the Nikyo. Here. We'll do it again. In. Boom. Boom. Here. Find it here. If you want to change the foot, you could, but it's still at that point. Boom. Here. I had to project you, did you see? So you're going to pull, then you're pushing there with your body, enough that I would do that, okay?
Yes.
And if you paid attention, your arm extended. Last time I had to project you on there, okay? So we can go slow and you can feel those forces. One, we push it off, there you go. There's the arm extension, okay? Again, one, boom, here I go. We'll go slower. Slower, so you don't go so fast. But there's still energy. There it is. Here I go. Boom. One more time. Boom, through, boom, here. That time you did not get projected. All right, try. Okay, and so now I have my non-contestation theory that you always use. It's 90 degrees to the inertial pathway, and we're doing that again. I have my arm isolation principles that you always have to use. And now you can also see, I have another concentricity. So if we're doing just straight Kata, Dori, Nikyo, it's the same thing. His arm was here. I move out to the side with that same footwork, and then you attack the wrist there, okay? All in that technique, the arm is already isolated when you did that technique, okay? So if you pay attention, that's all that's happening here, but the energy is right there that I am using, okay? But the footwork is the same. There's something that's different though, and that is that because of the energy that's happening, this doesn't work so good. So if you pay attention, I take a 2-on-1 and I turn that, okay? So watch, and this is very common in fighting, like we're here like that. You never go like that because he's gonna open up the Nikyo's right there, okay? So someone's grabbing you, you're always here like this, here on top, and turning that thing around, okay? So very similarly done here. So pay attention on this. Boom, boom, turn it into place, okay? Once it's in place, then you take a step and you're in just standard Nikyo. Okay, let's try. This came up again when I do my Kihon Waza. If you pay attention, I use my body, and what I mean by that is the rotation of my body, of the pattern that my body is taking in space to do much of the wrist turning in for something like Nikyo or Sankyo or something like that, okay? So, because the reason for this is grab, okay? And don't let me turn your wrist, I'll fucking break it if you let me turn it. There's no way, it's impossible. You cannot do that, okay? So, what we're doing here is I have a 2-on-1 now, do you see? And I get maybe there. That's about where it stops, do you see? But now here's where my body turns. And you pay attention, the Nikyo's on. Get the turn, it's right there. Okay? So, don't expect, as you're doing this technique, you're grabbing here, and he's got this centrifugal energy, you see? Don't expect this to get this all the way to there. You're just here, you get that turn, and then you turn. And it's right there, okay? And now you have it. Whoa. Don't get over anxious on that, okay? What'll happen is in the fight, you took too long, you stayed in place, the spiral rotation is coming to a stop, and the guy counters you were never strong enough, okay? What we're doing instead, I get enough angle, I move to keep the spiral rotation going, and then I end up having the lock. If I don't have the lock, I'm still in the zone of sanctuary, do you see? And the guy let go, probably, and I'm golden. He let go of me, which was the problem, okay? And you go on to something else, okay?